Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some easy Christmas ornaments. I'm going to show you another way to make a decal ornament just with your printer. So if you don't have a cutting machine, this is an awesome option. I want to thank Hippo for sponsoring today's video. So the one thing you're going to need is the Hippo transfer paper for this project. I'm also going to be using some fabric. So I just grabbed from Walmart a 100% cotton t-shirt, and I'm going to cut off a little scrap piece for this project. I also found this really cute decal off of Etsy that said Merry Christmas that I picked up. I'm gonna put it into Word and size it to be the size of this hoop that I grabbed off of Amazon. You could also get these at Walmart as well. Next, I'm gonna load my paper into my printer. I'm gonna set the print quality to photo, but you don't need this as a mirror image. I'm gonna print out my decal. I'm going to cut out my image and remove the backing piece. Now this is a sticky on the back, so you're going to place it down onto your fabric. Next, I use the heat press to heat mine at 340 degrees for 20 seconds. Next, I added my fabric into my hoop. Now I decided, because this was pretty neutral, I wanted a fun ribbon, so I had this red velvety ribbon that I picked up at Walmart, and I'm just gonna add this in. Now it was so tight that I didn't need to tie it, and I kind of like the look of having it crisscrossed like that, and I just think it looks so pretty with this red ribbon. If you've been following my channel for a while, you're gonna recognize this technique that I'm using. So I picked up a large white ornament from Dollar Tree. I wanted to give this ornament a cool marble effect. So to do that, I got a bucket of water. You don't really need that much water. And then I'm just going to spray in any color spray paint. I decided to go with gold. Once you get your spray paint down, if you're not happy with the design of it, you could put a stick or a pencil or something in there and just kind of move the paint around. Then you're gonna take your ornament, dip it in, and then pull it straight up. The design that's sitting on the top of the water is going to be the design that's on your ornament. You could keep doing this until you get that desired look that you're going for, dipping in your ornament and pulling it back up. I'll step back, take a look at it, and if I want to add more paint, I will. Next, I'm just gonna set that out to dry. I'm going to use some Hippo water slide decal paper to create a fun Christmas tree image on my ornament. And the cool thing about water slide decals is you only need your printer to create these. You don't need a cutting machine. So I went on Etsy and picked out some trees that I liked, but you could use anything you have, and I put it into Microsoft Word. Next, I just printed it out. After you print it out, the only things you're gonna need to add this image to your ornament is acrylic sealer as well as some water. Now I just picked up this acrylic sealer from Walmart. I started by spraying 3 coats of an acrylic sealer onto my image and let those dry. Next, I'm going to cut out the image, not leaving any white around the edges. And then I'll take one of my trees and put it in water for about 60 seconds. I'll pull it out, and the backing is going to slide off as I put the image on. Now you want to make sure when you're adding your image that whatever you're adding it to is wet, and that way you can move it around till you have it in place where you want it, and then just use a paper towel to blot it. And I'll repeat these steps with the other 2 Christmas trees. I'm gonna let this dry and add a ribbon to hang, but I love the way this ornament turned out. For our next ornament, you need to pick up a pack of shower rings. I grabbed mine at Dollar Tree for just $1. I'm also going to be using some macrame. I'll link the one that I always use down in the description box. So I'm going to cut off 2 pieces of macrame, and then I'm going to do a simple loop knot around my shower ring. And I'm going to do this all the way around until I've completely covered the shower ring. Then I'm going to come in and comb out all the ends of my macrame pieces. Next, I'm going to roughly cut around the edges to create a circle. From here, I was a little bit more detailed with my cutting to make sure I got a nice perfect circle, or as perfect as I could get all the way around. And then you just need to add some twine or ribbon to hang it, and this is a nice neutral ornament to hang on your tree. Next, we're going to be creating a ceramic ornament. So I grabbed some of these ceramic ornaments off of Amazon. I'm going to be grabbing another image from Etsy. I found these rainbows and thought they would be perfect to add to my ornaments. You guys could definitely create these, but I'm just not that great at creating graphics, so I like grabbing them for a couple of dollars off of Etsy. I'm going to be adding these ornaments through a process called sublimation. Now, I had never heard of that term, but after doing this project, I am definitely hooked on sublimation. I've been doing so many projects around my craft room. So to create a sublimation project, you're going to need a printer that's specifically for that project. I'm going to be using this Epson printer, and I'll link below the one that I'm using. You're also going to need a special sublimation ink. I'm using the Hippo sublimation ink. You want to make sure you don't use any of the ink that comes with the printer. Then you're going to fill each of the cartridges up with the Hippo sublimation ink. Adding the ink takes no time at all, and I was able to get so many projects out of just a little bit of ink. Next, I'm going to take the graphic that I'm printing and bring it into Word and size it to the size that I wanted it to be to fit my ceramic ornaments. I'm going to set my printing preferences to premium paper, and I wanted to make sure I put it on mirror image. I'm going to add my sublimation paper to my printer and print it out. Next, I'm going to cut out my rainbows and put them with the printed side down onto the ornaments. There's this really cool heat-resistant tape that you can add to your images. I've never used this before, but it's kind of a game changer because when you put it under the heat press, it's not going to move your project. So I definitely think this is worth having. I'm going to be using a heat press, but you could also use an easy press if you have that as well. You just want to follow the directions on the back of your image for how long you should heat it up for.
We're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, dance, dance. Come on. We're gonna dance, dance. Have a good time. Dance, dance.
Once it's done, take it off, let it cool, and then you just have this awesome image that is permanently on your piece. I repeated this with the other 2 ornaments. And I'm just going to add some ribbon to finish them off. I've been going crazy with the sublimation. I went to Walmart, bought a bunch of t-shirts for my kids. Then we grabbed some files off of Etsy, and I've just been making a ton of shirts for my kids. So I've been having a lot of fun. For our next ornament, this is going to take you no time at all to create. You're going to need some clear ornaments. Now, hopefully you can find these at Dollar Tree. I think since I was creating this video a little early, I was unable to find them, so I actually bought mine off of Amazon. Next, I grabbed a Christmas pick that I had on hand and some eucalyptus that I had that I was using throughout the summer. And I'm just going to trim off little pieces and stick those into the glass container. Next, I'll just put the lids back on. Now remember, with ornaments, they don't always have to hang on a tree. I thought these would look really great sitting out in a grouping on my shelf. If you guys like seeing holiday DIYs, make sure to give me a thumbs up so I know to do more videos like this one in the future. So for this next project, I literally didn't have to buy anything because I had all of these supplies on hand. So you're going to need a collection of beads. Just kind of pull what you have from your craft room. Don't feel like you have to go buy anything. I will link the hexagon bead down below if you don't have that one. And then you also need some twine. Really doesn't matter what twine you use. You just want to make sure you have a twine that's going to fit through your beads. So I started by pulling off 2 long pieces of twine just because I never want to have too little twine. You probably don't need this much. Next, I'm going to fold the twine in half and then I'll create a knot. This is going to be the portion where the ornament would hang. Next, I cut off one of the pieces of twine just because I didn't want to have to fit both pieces of twine through all my beads. And then I looped in my bead. I had 3 different sizes of round beads, and then I also put in a hexagon bead. Once I had all my beads on, I just tied a double knot at the bottom. I grabbed some ribbon that I had picked up at Dollar Tree and I'm just going to tie that in a bow at the top. Now, I thought about maybe adding a tassel at the bottom, but then I decided, no, I just wanted it to be the beads. So I cut off the string at the bottom, but that's an option as well. You could always add a tassel to the bottom. And I made 2 of these ornaments. Here's a look at how my bead ornaments turned out. If you guys are enjoying these holiday DIYs, consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos on Mondays and Thursdays. My next ornament I grabbed at Dollar Tree. It was this wood sign and I believe it was over in the craft section. I'm gonna start off by staining this piece. Once that dried, I added in some snowflakes. Now these are available in the craft section at Dollar Tree as well. I'm gonna hot glue 3 on here. Now this ornament could not be simpler, but I think it's really cute. For this next ornament, you could use a clear or white ornament. The white ones were the ones that I was able to find, so I picked up a white one. I'm gonna use my macrame that I'll link for you down in the description box. I'm gonna start at the bottom, hot gluing the macrame in place. I'm gonna continue wrapping it all the way around the ornament, making sure that I don't leave any space in between the macrame.
In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time.
I'll cut it at the top and glue the ends in place. I added in a Dollar Tree ribbon that I recently picked up in like their holiday section. It's a sheer black ribbon and I'll just loop that through and tie a bow at the base. And here's a look at how that ornament turned out. Now this next one is a little bit different, so I don't know if you guys are gonna love it, but I thought I would include it just because I think it's a little unique. So you're gonna need a clear ornament and some twine. So I started by looping some twine around at the top. Now I thought this would completely hold in place, but it didn't. So I ended up just kind of pulling that piece off. So I grabbed 5 pieces of twine that were a little bit longer and I looped them through the top, kind of like how I did on the other macrame ornament. So I had 5 pieces.
But as long as you're around, everything will be okay. 'Cause all I want
I spread those 5 pieces out, and then I wrapped that little tiny twine that I had before around the top and hot glued it in place. Next, I'm just going to move my pieces of twine so they're equal distances around, and then I'll pull them all together at the base. I'm gonna use a little hair tie that I picked up at Dollar Tree, but you could use a ribbon or twine or anything. And I'm just gonna wrap that around to hold all the pieces in place. Next, I'll cover that ribbon up with some twine, hot gluing that together. And to finish it off, I'll just add some twine to the top.
Just us and no one else. I've decorated everything till we're perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me.
I have a podcast, DIY Disasters with Liz Fenwick. Make sure you guys check it out. Let me know in the comments what your favorite ornament was. I will link to all the hippo supplies down in the description box, and I'll see you guys in our next one. Bye.